Appreciate y'all being here to cover our program. Good Tuesday practice. Thought it was a good day's work on both sides. Really in the kicking game. I like the energy of practice today. Reflecting back to last week, it's good to get a win at home. Homecoming, I thought the crowd was really awesome, fantastic environment for our team to play in front of in homecoming. And we got a really big challenge this week on the road against a really good football team. Man, I got a lot of respect for the way these guys play, the way they're coached. Navy's, I think, the class of our league in a lot of areas, and there's a reason why they're 7-2 and 5-1 in the league. They're really, really good. So we've got our work cut out for us this week with what I think is a marquee team that we got to play. So with that, we'll open to questions.
It looked like there was no version of the Oklahoma drill today with reference to kind of the tackling technique the last couple of weeks, but there was also 22 guys, I think, that made up the 35 total tackles. How important is that full three-level effort heading into this weekend especially? Yeah, the depth of your team on defense a lot of times is different every year. We're playing a lot of guys, which is fun to see. This week the challenge is you have to be good at all three levels. Alignment, assignment, eye discipline, technique, all of it. We were not pleased with the tackling a couple weeks ago in the Charlotte game in the first half in particular. So last week we did a little extra thud period. We're not allowed to do Oklahoma anymore by the NCAA rules, so we just did a little thud tackle period. But today was, I thought the look team today and our scout team for offense, I thought, did a phenomenal job in today's practice. It's nice to have a Dagan Bruno. Ran split back veer at John Curtis. He's running our scout team this week, and he's pretty natural at it. He's got a lot of that in his background, handling the ball under center, doing some of the reading stuff that we're asking him to do this week. So, but yeah, we didn't do that at post-practice today, but I thought the energy during the practice was good, and the depth of that many guys being involved in the game, making plays, is fun to watch.
Ranked for the first time this season. I mean, what does it mean to be getting a little bit of respect nationally, even though I know it doesn't mean any different in football? I told our guys it's rat poison and who cares. We're ranked in one poll. About half the people that vote in that poll didn't rank us. So it's like we're not really that respected yet. We slid in the back door. I think we were 25th by probably the skin of our teeth. So I'm not that impressed. And if our team's very impressed, then I'm not impressed. We're not that good yet. If we're worried about where we're ranked November the 12th, we're not going to be real pleased with how we're ranked December the 12th. So we haven't been ranked in the CFP, I don't think, yet. All that stuff's just win. Just win. Can you just explain a little bit about this rat poison thing? I mean, you say it a lot, you tweet it a lot.
Yeah. Well, I talk about don't eat the cheese and rat poison and all that stuff. Just don't buy into the hype. The same people, I tell our guys all the time, the same people that are patting you on the back and telling you how great you are, the same people that dog cuss you when you lose. They are. It's the same people, oh, you're great. The same people, you go lose a game, they'll be, oh, they suck, they're terrible. They're with you when you're winning, they're not when you're losing. And so I don't buy into the excitement of ranking or win streak or any of that. I think it's all garbage. I mean, it has zero effect on this week's game. We get to carry no points over from last week's game and count to this week. So you get what you earn each week. This is a very humbling game. You get every 7 days to get promoted or exposed, and everybody that we play is good enough to expose us. And we're also good enough to, if we start to feel real comfortable by ourselves or complacent, we're not that good. I mean, we're good when we play with a lot of focus and detail and the chip on our shoulder and a blue collar mindset. If we lose any of that edge, we will not be very good. So it's hard, but our guys have had the right mindset this week so far, and hopefully they'll continue that.
You had success against Army defensively the last 2 years at Troy. I know different team, different style offenses, but it is still the option. What are the big differences between what Army runs and what this Navy team does? And having had to prepare for Army those 2 years, will that help you?
There's some things that you go back. I mean, leveraging the football, having a dive quarterback pitch player, there's some elements that are the same. There's some schematic things that are different. The people are different.
You know, the Navy quarterback really, I think, is a really good passer, which I think is unique a lot of times in this offense. It's just another running back in the backfield. He is that too, but they've been explosive in the throw game. That's probably where they're scary in a lot of areas. They're built a little differently by who their people are. You know, like the Army dive back the last couple years we played him. He looked like a offensive lineman that can run 4.7. He was like 260, 270. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, these guys they're probably all maybe a little more conventional running back looking bodies. This 22 that plays one of the slots for him, I think, is a Swiss Army knife guy that runs it really good, catches it really good, and the schematics are unique. They almost are like, they play the game in different buckets. So, like, it's not just triple option. Some of it's wing T-ish. Some of it's they get in the gun and do conventional, like more conventional things. So there's really like buckets you have to be prepared to play this game in. They get to dictate which bucket they're playing in that down, and we have to kind of adjust our eyes and our alignment to match. And it is a real challenge. It is a real challenge.
And just how important is eye discipline in the back of the defense, because their whole deal is set up in getting teams to bite, and then guys are wide open.
It's critical. And eye discipline and then staying on top. You know, like they hit pass plays that, to me, it's about two things. It's about leverage on the ball, and it's about staying on top in the throw game. And so that's the challenge. And they've gotten most everybody they've played on it. You know, they didn't play a great game against Notre Dame. That was turnover driven as much as anything. They had, I think, 6 turnovers in that game. So that was kind of what got them. But you haven't really watched people just shut them down. I mean, they're very aggravating with what they do, and they find a way to move the football. And it's a very efficient offense. And our defensive staff and kids have a huge task in front of them. And I'll say this too, their defense, I think, is probably not talked about enough. They create a ton of negative plays. They run a lot more zero pressure. They run the 7-up package that you have to have a good plan for, and they bring zero blitz from depth, and they do some things that put stress on you in a lot of different ways.
Whoever wins this game will most likely clinch a spot in the AAC championship. Is that something that you discuss or embrace with the team, or is that something that's just kind of understood and you go about business as usual?
I brushed on it real quickly yesterday. Hey, this is like a championship type game. They all are. You know, if you didn't win last week, then that was kind of a championship type game. Like, they're all really, really important. I acknowledge it. I tell our guys the truth. They're going to, you know, I try to control the narrative with our team because they're going to hear it from their mom or dad or girlfriend or aunt or uncle or some guy down the street that's had too much to drink or whatever. Like, somebody's going to tell them something. So I'd rather be the one, at least give them the information. I think it's important. I tell them, hey, if you win this game, looks like we probably get to play maybe, I think, in another one at the end of the year. But if you worry about that, what could come, then you're not going to play this game very good. So just get prepared to play this game to the best of your ability.
And I believe you talked about him on Saturday, but Horvath as a quarterback, what impresses you the most? And I mean, he's like, what, top 3 in the league in rushing?
He's unbelievable. The kid's very athletic, can beat you with his legs, throws it really good, has great anticipation awareness. I think he's extremely tough. I love the player. I mean, I just watching him play, I got a lot of respect for how he plays. You know, he's the kind of guy that, like, you'd like to have on your team. I mean, it's just fun to watch. He plays the game the way it's meant to be played, and a lot of respect for him.
I think, especially like looking back at that Memphis game, he hit a couple long passes, and people aren't used to seeing that with Navy. How much does that like change kind of what they're able to do, him being able to throw the way that he does?
I just think how comfortable they are throwing the ball down the field and doing it with consistency is unique. You know, a lot of times you see maybe 3-back option type teams that want to go 3-4 yards a play and grind it out. They're okay doing that. They don't have a problem doing that, but they have probably more explosive ability throwing the ball down the field than most of the teams that you would associate with this style of offense typically. So that's probably just as scary as anything, is that they can lull you to sleep and throw one by you, or throw two by you, or throw three. I mean, they've been very explosive in the past game.
Coach, you talked you talked about leverage on the ball, staying on top of them in the throw game. For your defense and your secondary that has been top of the league in that type of scenarios, how confident are you that they can do that in a game like this?
I'm confident in our guys. It's really about just doing your job, being really disciplined and detailed in what you're supposed to do, and not worrying about maybe something else that's in their periphery. Do your job. I use this saying a lot with our staff and kids, is like, see a little, see a lot. Like, see a little and you'll see all you need to see. You'll see a lot. If you try to see a lot, you're not going to see anything. So see what you need to see. And then the communication component of maybe what we're getting is important, but it's about really just playing with clean eyes and being where you're supposed to be, and be on time to your job and late to somebody else's. It's okay to show up with second effort, maybe away from where your primary job was, but don't show up early to somebody else's job and not do yours the right way.
And to your point of maybe a championship on the horizon there, how poised, and can you just speak to Mensa's composure as these games are getting a little more heavier, with a little more weight on them, maybe?
Yeah, I've never seen him maybe just get rattled, he's just kind of a calm, he's almost so calm sometimes it makes me a little uneasy. I'm like, are you excited or whatever? He's just very even. So his first start, he was that way. Play against some big opponents early, he was pretty calm, even maybe through some moments where he didn't do some things he would like to have done to the best of his ability. He's just a very steady young man, and very confident in him. He prepares incredibly well. He's a young player who's getting exponentially better as he's getting more time on task. But he puts so much time into his preparation. And, we've got a sign right outside the team meeting room here. It says, "Destiny favors the prepared." If you're prepared, usually good things happen for you. If you're not, usually good things don't happen for you. And so he prepares incredibly well.
With the success that the academies are having this year, obviously got Navy this week and Army, what they've done, and the fact that they're not using the portal has kind of become the norm here in college athletics. What do you think that says out there, that they've got this continuity and aren't going into the portal and having the success they're having?
Yeah, I think while you could view some things as a disadvantage or an advantage, right? Sometimes your greatest strength is also a weakness and vice versa. I almost view it similarly as our opportunity here. When you come to Tulane or Navy or West Point or the Air Force Academy, any of those type places, you're not really, especially when you do it out of high school, you're not making a 4-year decision. You're making a change your life decision. I think the tuition here is $60-something thousand a year. All right, I don't know if my mom or dad ever made more money than that ever in a year in their career. So when you make that decision, you're buying into something for the development for the rest of your life, not for the next couple of seasons of football. And while we're all football matters, I think the guys that are buying into a place like the academies, or Tulane for that matter, I think we're in that sphere a little bit from an academic prestige standpoint. I think you're making a lifetime decision. And so when you commit there, you're kind of in. And then it does, the connectivity, the culture, the cohesiveness, the taking pride in what you're playing for, the love of your brother and the brotherhood component of, we talk a lot in our program about love. It's one of our core values. And I think, the quote, "The true soldier doesn't fight because he hates what's against him. He fights because he loves what's behind him." I think there's some carryover maybe from those places and our place too, to be quite honest.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.